Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue à Langue French with Maurice. Aujourd'hui, nous allons apprendre ou bien nous allons réviser une des compréhensions français. As I had promised that the next video we are going to revise one of the comprehension. So we are here to revise one of the comprehension and we put into use all the essential key things that we talked about in the previous video about knowing or understanding French comprehensions. Now, in the previous video, actually, we had looked at some of the key elements to know in order to understand most French comprehensions. That's to mean that you should actually go check it out. Okay, that is, if you've not checked that video out, make sure you go check it out, because there are so much in that video. It's a long video, it's a 1-hour video, but I'm telling you, after watching that video and understanding everything that is talked about in that video, your level is not going to remain the same. You are going to understand all my videos that I'll be uploading concerning all these comprehensions and also other things that I'll be teaching you again and again. So make sure you go check that video out. It's just the previous video before this. Go check it out, guys. So now let's look at this comprehension, and if you see if you can understand what is being talked about here. And voila, here is the comprehension. Samuel va chez l'odontiste. Il a mal aux dents et il est fatigué, mais il n'a pas de fièvre et il n'a pas mal à la tête. La mère de Samuel ne peut pas l'accompagner au rendez-vous car elle vend des bonbons au marché. Samuel va y aller à pied avec son père. Pas nécessaire de prendre la voiture. À l'avenir, Samuel ne va plus manger de gâteau ni boire de soda. Après son rendez-vous, il va aller à la pharmacie pour acheter des médicaments. Il ne va pas jouer au foot ce week-end. Il doit rester au lit. Okay? So, did you understand anything? Alright, let's go through it again to see if you will actually master something. Samuel va chez l'odontiste. Il a mal aux dents et il est fatigué, mais il n'a pas de fièvre et il n'a pas mal à la tête. La mère de Samuel ne peut pas l'accompagner au rendez-vous car elle vend des bonbons au marché. Samuel va y aller à pied avec son père. Pas nécessaire de prendre la voiture. À l'avenir, Samuel ne va plus manger de gâteau ni boire de soda. Après son rendez-vous, il va aller à la pharmacie pour acheter des médicaments. Il ne va pas jouer au foot ce week-end. Il doit rester au lit. Now, I think if you had watched the previous video and you mastered some things, I think you must have understood. So, did you understand anything? Right? Now, if you had mastered all the key elements I talked about in the previous video, then you must have an idea of what we talked about. That is to mean, go check out that video, okay? The video is entitled Essentials to Understanding French Comprehensions. So make sure you go visit and watch that video, because the key aspects that I've talked about there must be seen on this. Actually, 90% of all the things that I've talked about in the previous video are tackled here, are actually captured here, okay? So make sure you go check that video out. Now, let's look at the key verbs that are used in this in the comprehension that we are just to revise. Now, we have this verb va, which means goes. We have a, which means has. We have un, which means is. We have ton, which means can. We have vont, which means sells. We have aller, which means to go. Now, you'll notice that 90%, we talked about aller as the main verb, because va, the original verb is aller. A, the original verb is avoir. It's only that it's conjugated. The original verb is être. Pour, it's a modal verb, which means pouvoir, can, you understand? Vont, we didn't talk about that, but aller, we talked about that, okay? So 90% of these verbs I had actually mentioned them, that you have. These are some of the key verbs that you need to know, not in the way they are, but just from the original verbs and also their conjugations, okay? Because when you see a verb like va, you actually know that is aller, which is to go. So you can actually tell that this thing is can be easily understood, you understand? So va, you just know it goes, okay? So that is it, guys. And we actually have another verb, prendre, which is to take, okay? So you see 90% of the things I've already talked about them in the previous video, so make sure you go check that video out. Now another verb is manger, which means to eat. In Sheng, in my place, we say kumanga, manger, to eat. Then boire, we say to drink, okay, boire. And then we have aller, that is to go, of course we talked about that severally. Acheter, that is to buy, acheter, to buy. Jouer, to play, okay. Rester, that is to remain or to stay, okay. Now these verbs here, there is something we do on them to make them be used in a sentence. I talked about that in the previous video. Kindly go check it out, because my videos are kind of progressing from one level to another. So make sure you go check it out so that we be together, okay? So boire, aller, acheter, jouer, rester, we do something we call conjugation for them to be able to be used according to different subjects like I, you, he, she, or it, we, then you of plural, and they of plural, okay? So make sure you know all those things. Now the nouns that are used in these comprehensions are these. We have dentiste, that is dentist. We have dent, that is teeth, and don't forget, I've done one of the video about parts of the body, and I've actually talked about some things there, so make sure you go check out that video. And then we have fièvre, that is fever, okay? Then we have tête, that is head. Then we have mère, that is mother. We have rendezvous, that is appointment. We have marché, that is a market. And then finally we have pied, which is foot, okay? So all these things are talked about in that comprehensions, and we are here now to at least try to see if we are able to be practicing more and more to be understanding all these French comprehensions. And then after that, we'll now be talking easily now as we master these things, okay? So marché, market, pied, fou, rendezvous, appointment, mère, mother, of course, father is père. Then tête, that is head. I've told you that I've talked about some parts of the body in another video, so make sure you subscribe, guys, because if you are not seeing that video, that means maybe you've not subscribed. Hit that subscribe button so that you get access to all of my French videos that I've uploaded. So guys, that is it. And then now let's look at these other nouns actually that I've not talked about. Voiture, that is a car. Avenir, that is future. Avenir, future, okay? Gâteau, those are cakes. Gâteau, cakes, okay? Soda, that's just like English. C'est comme l'anglais, which is sodas. Pharmacy, that is a pharmacy, of course. Médicament, that is medication. Foot, that is soccer, okay? Football, you understand? Foot. And then weekend, that is just c'est comme l'anglais, it's like English, so it's weekend. And then lit, which is just bed, okay? Lit, mon lit, my bed, that is well understood. Okay, now let's look at each sentence of this comprehension so that we can know, we understand this comprehension word by word, okay? Now, Samuel va chez le dentiste. Samuel va chez le dentiste. Now look at the way they have written this sentence. The subject here is Samuel, okay? Va, of course, you know this, the original verb of this word here is aller. When you conjugate aller under the subject il, that is he, it becomes va. So Samuel is like saying il, okay? He, okay? Va. So we take the subject form of Samuel, which is the conjugation form of il, of aller, which is va. So Samuel va chez. I'll talk about this chez. Le dentiste. Now you know the dentist, you know va, you know Samuel is the name of someone. So Samuel va chez le dentiste. Let me talk about this chez. Okay, so Samuel is going to the dentist. Let me talk about that chez. In French, She means at someone's place, okay? Or it's associated with someone or something. That means she is not used alone. If you mention she, there must be something that comes after. So that thing that comes after is now at that thing's place. Whatever you mentioned in there. For example, mon nom c'est Maurice, okay? My name is Maurice. Mon nom c'est Maurice. Si je dis, if I say chez Maurice, I mean Maurice place, okay? Sorry, I'm using French. Maurice place, okay? My name is Maurice, so if I say chez Maurice, I mean Maurice place. You understand? So chez means at someone's place. But if I say chez Google, I mean at Google, okay? Chez vous, at your place. You understand? Chez toi, at your place. You understand? Chez moi, moi is me, okay? So chez moi, it's at my place. So chez is not used alone. You see what is mentioned there. Chez le docteur or chez docteur. I mean at the doctor's place. You understand? So chez is means at someone's place or is associated with someone or something. For example, chez Pierre. Remember Pierre also in English is Peter. So chez Pierre, that's Peter's place. So it means at Pierre's place, okay? And chez Google means at Google. It's a handy word for working about locations, ownerships, or affiliations. So when you see chez, make sure you understand it direct. So Samuel va chez le dentiste. That is, Samuel is going to the dentist's place. Understood? That is it, guys. Now, il a mal aux dents et il est fatigué. And I'm layering this because I told you in the previous video that when you have a consonant and the following is a vowel, we kind of layers them, what we call liaison in français. In French, you say liaison. So, il a mal aux dents et il est fatigué. Okay? So, il a mal. In another video, that's why I'm telling you, subscribe, guys, so that you get used to, like, you get access of all my videos that I've done about these things. I've talked about avoir mal. To have. Remember, a is from the original verb avoir. So avoir mal aux dents. When you use the expression avoir mal and then you mention a part of the body, you actually mean you are sick at that part of the body. You understand? So il a, he has. Okay, remember conjugation of avoir in the previous video? Il a mal. He has. Mal is bad. Okay, it's like he has bad at the teeth. Okay, so that is the direct translation. It is French is French and English is English. So I'm using English to teach you French. So you understand when I translate directly and it's not making sense. You understand? So il a mal, like he has sickness where? At the teeth. Okay. So il a mal aux dents et il est fatigué. And he is, remember I talked about conjunctions in the previous video, and he is tired. Mais il n'a pas de fièvre. Remember I talked about negation in the previous video. When I say no and pas, and then the word comes in between no and pas is a verb. And the verb here is avoir, okay? So il n'a pas de fièvre. Et il n'a pas mal. So il n'a pas de fièvre. And we say that fièvre is fever. So il n'a pas. Il a is he has, so il n'a pas is he doesn't have. What? Fever. Et il n'a pas mal à la tête. So avoir mal à la tête is to have sickness at the head. That is headache. So he has headache at the. So when you look at the meaning of this sentence, it's going to be he has a toothache because il a mal aux dents. Dents is teeth, so mal aux dents is toothache, and he's tired. He is tired. Il est fatigué. Mais il n'a pas de fièvre. He doesn't have fever. Et il and is il and. Okay? Et is and. Il n'a pas mal à la tête. He doesn't have headache. Understood? That's how we kind of get to understand these things. So la mère de Samuel, the mother of who? Samuel. La mère de. I talked about conjunctions and these things in the previous video. So do is of or from or about, but now in that another case. So la mère, the mother of Samuel, ne peut pas. I talked about pouvoir. It's a modal verb which means can. Cannot Remember this negation now. I talked about negative words. Pas, plus, you remember jamais, that is not, no longer. I talked about never, I talked about no one. So make sure you check out that. Okay? So la mère de Samuel ne peut pas l'accompagner. This is a form of kind of like cannot accompany. Low now here, when you use this form here, of which I'll be talking about that in another video, make sure you subscribe, because guys, I can't talk about everything in one video. Okay, so this is one form of to avoid repetition, it's like to avoid the repetition of saying the mother of Samuel cannot accompany like the person you're talking about here. The mother of Samuel cannot accompany him, like cannot accompany Samuel. So the mother of Samuel cannot accompany Samuel. So to avoid to repeat the word Samuel, we replace with a direct object, complément d'objet direct. We replace it with the I'll be talking about that in another video. Ways we can avoid repetition in French, like I give Peter his pen. I give him his pen. So I've talked about that in another video. That's why I'm telling you, subscribe, guys, so that every video I upload, you get to use to understand. By the end of all these things, the revision of this comprehension, you have mastered a lot in French. So make sure you subscribe, guys, so that you get in touch to all the videos that I upload. So ne peut pas l'accompagner au rendezvous car elle vend des bonbons au marché. So cannot accompany her to we talked about this. I said this appointment. The appointment. Car is because, and remember also it can be parce que, because, or car because. So parce que, I talked about that in the previous video, and also car, it means the same thing, because she sells some candies at the market. Marché. Remember, marché is market. Marché, market. And when I say bien marché is cheap. Bien marché, that is cheap. Okay, so au marché, now this is the meaning. So Samuel's mother, la mère de Samuel, cannot accompany, ne peut pas. Remember when he says la mère de Samuel peut accompagner, that is can accompany, but now ne peut pas, that is negating now that thing. So cannot accompany him to the appointment au rendezvous parce que or car elle vend des bonbons au marché, because she sells candies at the market. You see that? Then let's move on. Samuel va y aller. This is another way of avoiding repetition by using le pronom adverbial y. I've talked about that in another video, so make sure you subscribe so that you get access to that. So Samuel goes there. Now this is like, instead of saying that goes to the market again, repeating to the market, we use ye to replace a place. We say a pronoun adverbial ye. It's an adverbial pronoun that I've talked about in another video. So make sure you subscribe. We check that out. You see how we avoid repetition in making sentences. So Samuel va y aller. Of course, aller, is to go. À pied is foot, so by foot. When you say à pied, that is by foot. Avec son père, with son père. Remember I talked about possession in the previous video. Possession and the stressful, like la sien. You remember? Son, his, okay? Mon, my, son, his. Ton, your. And feminine, of course, and feminine is ma, that is my. Ton, ta, that is your. And then sa, that is her. Okay, so son is a masculine form of possession of his. So son père, his father. Pas nécessaire de prendre la voiture. Not necessary to take. Prendre is to take a vehicle. Okay, look at the meaning. Samuel will walk there with his father, and then no need. Pas nécessaire, no need to take. De prendre la voiture. And remember, when you use an infinitive verb, like you want to say to take, and you see like slanging, you have to use do before it for it to be grammatically correct. So no need to take. So we could have said pas nécessaire prendre, but now it will be like it has hanged. it should be conjugated, but now we want to use it like to. Okay, so pas nécessaire de prendre la voiture, not necessary to take a vehicle. Okay, to take the car. Okay, now let's move to another sentence. Okay, à l'avenir, Samuel ne va plus manger de gâteau ni boire de soda. À l'avenir, so I told you avenir is future. So Samuel ne va plus manger. Remember I talked about no plus. And what comes in between is a verb, okay? Now, no plus is no longer, okay? Manger. So can no longer eat. Va is going, eh? So va and manger is making it to be future proche. I've talked about tenses in some of the video, so make sure you subscribe. So Samuel ne va plus manger de gâteau ni boire de soda. He's no longer going to do what? To eat or to take some bread, nor to drink some soda. Okay, remember before quantities, it's like some, eh? So this is the meaning. In future, the future, Samuel will no longer, because va manger, going to eat. Okay, so no longer going to eat, will no longer eat what? Gâteau is cakes, nor or drink some sodas. You know, you say ni is nor or neither, ni. Okay, it's neither nor or also drink some sodas. You see that? Then we move to another one. Après son rendezvous, after his, because the possession, after his appointment, il va aller. He's going to go. When you translate directly, okay, he's going to go à la pharmacie, to the pharmacy, to buy, pour acheter, for her to buy. When you see pour followed by an infinitive verb, this pour here is referring to the person being talked about in the comprehension, okay? So he say pour manger. I'm the one saying pour manger. Pour manger l'ugali. L'ugali is a Kenyan food, actually staple food of Kenya. Ugali. Pour manger l'ugali. If for me to eat, okay, I've not mentioned me somewhere, but pour, the following verb is kind of an infinitive verb. And remember, when you use pour, the following verb must be in infinitive form, should not be conjugated. So pour manger is like for me to eat. I'm referring to me. And maybe I'm talking about some. Now it depends on the context that you're talking about. In this case, remember, you're talking about Samuel after his appointment. He's going to the pharmacy. And then we are saying for to buy. Pour is for to buy. But now for who depends with the context of that text. Okay. So for him to buy the medicament. So pour acheter, for him to buy the medication. Okay. Some medication. You see that? And then we move to another one. Il ne va pas jouer. You see that? No and va pas jouer. Okay. Not. This, remember, va is from the verb aller, so he's not going to play foot so weekend. He's not going to play football this weekend. Okay? Il ne va pas jouer au foot ce weekend. Il doit rester au lit. He's not going to play this weekend, football this weekend. He has to remember the modal verb devoir, which means to have to. Okay? To have to. Okay, so doit, must, or to have to. So he have to stay. Rester means to stay or to remain. Okay, stay au lit, to stay on bed. See that? Then we move to another one. He will not play soccer this weekend. He has to stay in bed. Then now we are done with the translation of the sentence. Now, the questions that you can be asked actually from the comprehension as such. Où va Samuel? Now, before I talk about the questions, for you to answer the questions, you have to understand the key things that I talked about previously in the other video. The key things that you have to know at your fingertips when you talk about questions in French. Things like où, comment, pourquoi. You remember? Okay? Now, let's just mention them here, and then maybe you will recall to what I talked about. So, où is the key thing here. Where va Samuel? Of course, it's like saying où Samuel va. Samuel goes. Where goes Samuel? Remember, I've also talked about forming questions in French in another video. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get access. Okay. So où va Samuel? Where goes Samuel? Because aller, this is the verb aller. I know now you've mastered that verb. because it's an essential thing to know for you to understand any French comprehension. So, où va Samuel? Where goes Samuel? Where is Samuel going? If you now translate it well. So, where is Samuel going? Okay. The second one, pourquoi la mère de Samuel ne peut-elle pas l'accompagner? Why? Pourquoi is why. Who is where? Pourquoi, why is the mother of Samuel ne peut-elle pas? This is, remember, this negation. Elle peut, remember, one of the way of forming questions in French, we inverse. The verb comes first and then the subject comes second. So, elle peut, so we say peut-elle, okay? Peut-elle, and there's that hyphen there just to make it well grammatically. So, ne peut-elle. So, elle peut is she can. So, ne peut-elle is cannot, she cannot, okay? Elle ne peut is she cannot. So, ne peut-elle pas is like she cannot, okay? Accompany who? Her. I talked about avoiding repetition by using this complement object, direct complement object, l'accompagner. Okay, I've talked about that actually in another video. I can't talk about everything in one single video, guys. That's why I've made several videos for you to go check out. At least you learn more and more. This French is wide, guys, as I'm telling you guys. So, pourquoi la mère de Samuel ne peut-elle pas l'accompagner? This is the meaning. Why can't Samuel's mother, la mère de Samuel, remember I talked about do, means of, okay? Do Samuel. The mother of Samuel accompany who? Him, l'accompagner. This he is referring to him, okay? Okay, number 3. Comment Samuel va-t-il au rendezvous? Now the key thing is comment. This thing, guys, that I talked about when I was talking about is essential for any French comprehensions. Où, pourquoi, comment. Comment means how. So, comment Samuel va-t-il? I just told you that one of the way of forming questions we inverse. So instead of saying il va, we say va-il. You see that? So we introduce that T when there's when you're forming questions by inversion and you happen to have a vowel and a vowel, you introduce that T. Okay. So comment Samuel va-t-il au rendezvous? Like il va, so inverse, va-t-il au rendezvous? That's the meaning. How does, not what. What is co, okay? But now here we're talking about comment. So how does Samuel go to the appointment? Okay, that is it. Then we go to another question, number 4. Qu'on ne va plus faire. Oh, see that? Va faire is going to do. Remember, this is aller, okay? Going, faire is to do. So it's going to do. So not anymore now. It's no longer going to do. Who? Samuel. What is not going to do Samuel in the future? That's direct translation, guys. Remember I talked about French is French and English is French, but I'm using English to French, okay? So, qu'on ne va plus faire Samuel à l'avenir. What do you think is the meaning? Is like what? You know this? Ne va plus, no longer. What? Going to do. Samuel à l'avenir, in the future. What is Samuel no longer going to do in the future? What will Samuel no longer do in the future? See, that's the meaning. Number 5, où va Samuel après son rendezvous? Who is where? Goes Samuel après. I talked about this in the previous video as one of the key essential things that you understand. Where goes Samuel after his what? Appointment. Remember son, possession, possessive, le pronom possessive. I talked about this in the previous video. So where is Samuel going after his appointment? Where does Samuel go after his appointment? Number 6, pourquoi Samuel? Pourquoi is why. So if you know pourquoi, que, où, comment, you will get actually to understand all the questions that you are asked in French, okay? So pourquoi Samuel ne jouera-t-il pas au foot ce week-end? Why Samuel jouera? Like jouera is like another tense. We call it future simple. It's a kind of a future, far future. Okay, will tense. I've talked about it in another video, so make sure you subscribe so that you get access. Okay, once you subscribe, guys, you will get access, easy access to all my videos that I upload. So pourquoi Samuel ne jouera-t-il pas? Is no and pas. So no, not is here. And jouer is to play. So no jouera-t-il pas is only that this form is in future tense, which is some. If you don't know about this tense, then I've covered it in another video. So au foot is not going to play football this weekend. Why? This is the main thing here. Okay, so why won't Samuel play soccer this weekend? You see that? And the last question, que doit faire? Remember doit from the word, the verb, the modal verb devoir? I talked about all the modal verbs in the previous video. So devoir is the conjugation of the verb doit is the conjugation of the verb devoir in the previous video, remember? So que doit faire? What must he do? Que doit faire Samuel? Okay, what must Samuel do? Or what must he do? Okay, what has he to do? Okay, après I talked about it. That video is long, guys. That's why I'm keeping on referring to it, because I talked about all the essential things. Après son rendezvous, after his appointment. You understand? So that's the meaning. What does Samuel have to do after his appointment? Now we are done with the meaning. Now let's answer each of these questions. Okay, now où va Samuel? Where is Samuel going? You see that? The question is asking, where is Samuel going? If you want to answer that, you're going to say, Samuel is going. Okay, can't you write that in French? I talked about the previous video. If you watched that, I know you have those things at your fingertips, so it's easy for you to answer these. So Samuel, you can write, Samuel goes where? You say that place. Okay, Samuel va chez le dentiste, because chez is at someone's dentist. So chez, place of who? The dentist. Okay, Samuel va chez le dentiste. We've answered that. The second question, pourquoi la mère de Samuel ne peut-elle pas l'accompagner? So why is the mother of Samuel not? Remember this not. Always pay attention with the negation, guys, because it can change a meaning actually. Like it's not saying not going to accompany who? Her. I've talked about repetition. We use this in case of direct object. So pourquoi la mère de Samuel ne peut-elle pas l'accompagner? Why can't Samuel's mother accompany him? So why can't she accompany him? You see that? Like, you see, now you're going to say the mother of Samuel. If you want to answer in a very organized way, the mother of Samuel is not going to accompany him because, you see that? So la mère de Samuel ne peut pas. Remember this pouvoir, the modal verb in the previous video, pouvoir, conjugation of that verb. So cannot, ne peut pas, cannot, okay? Because when you say no and then the verb and then pas, that is cannot. L'accompagner, accompany who? Her. Avoid repetition. Cannot accompany. Car is because. So you can say parce que or parce que or parce que. Elle vend des bonbons. She sells candies au marché, at the market. So Samuel's mother can't accompany him because she sells candies at the market. You see that? So comment Samuel va-t-il au rendez-vous? How does she go to? Okay, well, how will you answer? Samuel goes to the rendezvous, which is appointment, and this is a very common word in comprehensions, especially when you are doing IGCSE. That is a pièce d'excel. Get used to this word. Rendezvous is appointment. Okay, so Samuel va there. Easy to replace there. Okay, goes to replace to the appointment. So Samuel goes there by foot. Remember I talked about this foot. So à pied, that is by foot, avec son père. Samuel goes there by foot with his father. We move to another question. Où va Samuel après son rendezvous? Where does Samuel go after his appointment? We talked about the meaning of the question. So après, you see now, you have to learn to answer these questions. Where does Samuel goes after? See this? Après, after. Remember before I said after, no, après is after. So his rendezvous. So where does Samuel go after his appointment? Okay, so we are going to say after his appointment, après son rendezvous, Samuel va aller, or you can replace by Samuel by saying il va aller à la pharmacie pour acheter des médicaments. So he's going to go to the pharmacy. Il va aller à la pharmacie pour acheter, for her to buy. I talked about pour. Is referring to what you're talking about, the person you're talking about there. So pour acheter des médicaments. So after his appointment, he will go to the pharmacy to buy medication. Another question, pourquoi Samuel ne jouera-t-il pas au foot ce weekend? Why won't Samuel play soccer this weekend? Why won't? So Pay attention to negation. Ne jouerait-il pas? This negation. Why is he's not going to play? If you know the meaning of this and you've taken care of the negation, then you are going to understand what the people are asking. So you are going to say he is not going to. You understand? To play. So he's not going. If you want to say il goes, you're going to say il va. So he's not going. Il ne va pas jouer. Il ne va pas. He's not going. To do what? To play au foot ce weekend. Because il doit rester. He have to remain or he have to stay on bed. He won't play soccer this weekend because he have to stay in bed. And number 6. Que doit faire Samuel après son rendez-vous? Co, I said, is what? Is like what, okay? What must do Samuel après son rendez-vous? Direct translation. What must Samuel do after his appointment? Okay? You answer well by saying after his appointment. It's easy. Après son rendez-vous. Now that you know after, you know his, and you know appointment. It's easy. So after his appointment, il doit rester au lit. He's going to remain on bed. After his appointment, he has to stay in bed. Okay? The last question. Qu'on ne va plus faire Samuel à l'avenir? What will Samuel no longer do in future? Qu'on ne va plus, you see, no plus, no longer. So what is he no longer going to do? Samuel, of course, à l'avenir. What will Samuel no longer do in future? So à l'avenir, you start very well. In the future, see that way of course, question. Samuel is not going to eat cakes, okay? Samuel ne va plus. When you say Samuel va, that is Samuel goes. So Samuel no va plus. I talked about the formation of negation in previous video, so make sure you check it out. It's very long. It's a long video, but very educative, guys. Make sure you check it out. Samuel ne va plus manger de gâteau ni boire de soda. So in the future, Samuel is not going to eat the cakes nor drink some soda. In the future, Samuel will no longer eat cakes or drink sodas. Done. Okay, we move to another thing. Now let's practice to write our own comprehension, just like the above comprehension. Okay, now that we've talked about all those things, we've known the meaning of that comprehension, we've learned some things here and there. Now let's learn on how to write, because at some level you might be told to write a composition, so this is going to help you. Are you together, guys? Now let's start immediately. The nouns that I want you to use are these: vétérinaire. That is a vet, a veterinaire. Okay, that's a vet. Okay. Fièvre. That is fever, of course, as we've talked about there. Maman. That is maman. Okay. Animalerie. That is a pet store. Animalerie, a pet store. Médicament. That is medicine. Okay. Chat. That is a cat. Chat. That's a cat. The dog, we say chien. Okay. And bonbon. Those are candies. Okay, as we've thought about them. These are the nouns I wanted to use, so make sure you master them, okay? Then we go to the verbs to use, the verbs that I want you to use. Aller, of course, that is to go, and you know how to conjugate them, because you can't use that full verb in a sentence, unless there's some rules. Pour aller, for you to go, okay? Pour aller, for. Remember, pour is for to go, for you to go, depending on the context you're talking about, the person you're talking about in that sentence. So aller is to go, you know, to conjugate it: je vais, tu vas, il va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont, comme ça. Okay. Avoir, of course, j'ai. You remember the conjugation: j'ai, tu as, il a, nous savons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Okay, avoir, that is our conjugation. Être, of course, you have to know the conjugation: je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, il or elle est. No, elles sont, ils sont, the plural part. Pouvoir, je peux, tu peux, il peut, nous pouvons, vous pouvez, ils, elles peuvent. You remember the conjugation of these? You have to know how to name it. These are the verbs I want you to use. Recommander, of course, the ER verbs. These are where we conjugate them. The conjugation according to the subjects: je, i, tu, es, il, elle, that is e. Then nous or ns, the endings. I've talked about that video actually, how to conjugate ER verbs. Kindly go check it out if you don't know that. I have that video ready. So if you're not seeing it, you've not subscribed, guys, make sure you subscribe, okay? Then decide, that is to decide. You decide. Decide is an ER verb, so you know how to conjugate it. Donner, to give, okay? Préoccuper, these are past thing, passé composé. I've talked about passé composé in another video. That is a past tense. Make sure you check it out, okay? Check it out. If you're not seeing that video, you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so that you check it out to learn about past tense, okay? Préoccupé, it means worried. Now, let's write the following sentences in French so that we can come up with our own comprehension in French. Now, let's write this. Léa is the name of someone. Goes to the vet. Of course, the verb to go, aller. Okay? So conjugate that verb according to the subject Léa, which is er. So Léa goes to the vet. Let's go. So Léa goes to the vet. You can say chez vétérinaire to mean veterinary's place, okay? You remember what I've just revised. Léa goes to the vet. You've done with that? Her cat Minou is sick. Say that. Her cat. I've talked about possession. Mon, ma, ton, ta, son, sa. My, your, his. So her cat, his or hers, okay? Son sha, okay? Write that. So okay, let me not tell you the meaning. So write her cat Minou is sick. Of course, sick we say malade. Malade. So her cat Minou is sick. He has a slight fever. Slight is like, say petite. Petite, small. He has, il a, has, okay, you know? He has is avoir. So conjugate that verb according to the subject he. Il dash a slight fever. A slight fever, slight petite fièvre. Of course, you know that. Now, that's the meaning. Léa va chez le vétérinaire. Son chat. You see, chez le vétérinaire. That is to the vet, okay? If I say chez moi, that's my place. Chez vous, your place, okay? Son chat, his, son. Remember, mon, my, ton, your, son, his, or has, her, okay? Has is possessive stressed. I talked about that in the previous video. Make sure you check it out. So, son chat Minou is, remember, son chat Minou, that is like saying it. So, il est. Is now is going to be used for this. Remember the conjugation of the verb être, to be. Je suis, I am. Tu es, you are. Il est, elle est, on est. He is, she is. We are, or one is. Okay? So, is when you conjugate it according to. So, son chat Minou is the subject of this. So, that is like saying il est. We conjugate that verb être according to the verb être according to this. So, it becomes est. So, she is sick. Malade is sick. So, elle est malade. Il a, she has. Une petite, he has a small. Un is like a, okay? A of an is un, that is a of masculine. Un is feminine. And I talked about when you see a word that ends with an e, that's definitely is a feminine, mostly, okay? So, il a une petite fièvre. She has a slight fever. She is worried, but Minou doesn't have headache. She is worried, okay? So, what is she in French? Write that. She is. Actually, write she is in French. That is easy, guys. You just conjugate the verb être. Je suis, I am. Tu es. In the previous video, I talked about this. So, I know you can't do that. I know you can't do that. So, she is worried. I just told you what worried is. The previous. Préoccupé, okay? So, she is worried. But Minou, mais. But is mais, M-A-I-S. I talked about in the previous video. That video is long, guys. It has a lot. It has actually everything that you need to know when you're talking about comprehension. So, but Minou doesn't have headache. Remember when you say have headache, avoir mal à la tête. So, does not, n'a pas mal. Okay? So, write that. Voila, here we have. So, elle est préoccupée. She is worried. But it's supposed to be mais, M-A-I-S, but here because Oh, like it's supposed to be because, that's why it's here because. But here I've written but. So but should be may. So forgive me for that slight mistake. So elle est préoccupée car Minou n'a pas mal à la tête. Because Minou doesn't have. You see, na and pas, so does not have. Minou a mal à la tête. That is, Minou has headache. But Minou n'a pas. What should be in between is a verb. And one verb, guys, please. One verb must be in between no and pas for it to be negated. So Minou n'a pas mal à la tête. So her mom can't accompany her because she works at the library. No, that's another one. So her I want to write this. Her mom can't accompany her because she works at the library. If you can't, you can replace well and good. You can l'accompagner. It's okay. Okay. So try that. Her mom, of course, you know mom is mère. Okay. Her mom, her. What about her? Possessive pronoun. So her mom can't accompany her. Of course, accompagner is an er verb. So when you conjugate it, her mom is the subject of this sentence. So it's like saying elle. So can't, of course, that is a verb. Can is pouvoir. So conjugate she can. Elle peut. Okay. Then you negate it. Can't accompany. Accompagner is you are going to say to accompany, of course, because when you conjugate that for modal verb, the following verb accompagner is not going to be conjugated. It's going to be remain in the same infinitive. I said that in the previous video. So her mom can't accompany her. So her mom say, don't say elle mère. That is very, very wrong. Those are some of the mistakes students make. We have possession. Elle is a subject, she. But what about her, his, my, your? Possession now, possessive pronouns. You need to know them. And I talked about that in the previous video. It's a long video, but very educative. So make sure you check it out. So her mom, of course, can't accompany her. Pouvoir, you conjugate it according to her. Elle, that is L. Her mom, that is L. So pouvoir, it will be P-E-U-T, of course. Accompany her. Her will be replaced. We talked about that in another video. If you don't know how to replace, go check that video out. If you're not seeing it, make sure you subscribe. Because she works at the library. Accompany her because she works at the library. Car, elle, because it's she. Because she works. Travailler is to work. Sorry, I did mention that. Travailler. T-R-A-I-L-L-E-R. At the library. So here is it. So sa maman, you can say sa mère or sa maman. Remember, it's a feminine, so we're not going to use son. Son is for masculine, okay? But maman is a feminine, so you're not going to say son maman. You're going to say sa maman. No papa, because if it was not to be negated, you could say sa maman po accompagner. But now, because of negation, we're going to negate it. No papa l'accompagner, car because elle travaille, she works à la bibliothèque. Bibliothèque is the library, okay? Another one is librairie, comme ça, librairie. Elle travaille à la bibliothèque. I talked about this in the previous video. Conjunctions are at, okay? À la bibliothèque, comme ça. Now, the last one that I want you to write. Leah loves giving candies to Minou. To love is adore, adorer. So conjugate that according to the subject elle, which is Leah now. Don't say Leah elle, but say just Leah. Then you at the back of your name, you know the subject is elle. So loves is adorer, A-D-O-R-E-R. That's if it's not conjugate, so you have to conjugate. When you conjugate, we use it to the subject. So Leah adore. Leah does, okay, do that, write that. Giving candies, okay. Adore, when you say adore, of course, giving will be just to give. Don't conjugate to give, because you say she adores to give. Okay, so we need that too. So you won't conjugate that verb. Giving candies to Minou, but she no longer gives Minou the sweets. So no longer here. You at the back of your mind, you know you have to use no plus. So no longer, she no longer. Okay. So but mais elle gives is the verb. And no longer now. So write that in French. Try that. The sweets, of course, the sweets are just bonbons. Okay. So here we have this. Léa adore donner des bonbons à Minou. To Minou. Remember I talked about at or to. The meaning. So Léa adore donner des bonbons à Minou. Mais elle ne donne plus. Okay, you see that? Elle ne donne plus. I've conjugated this donner. It's supposed to be ER, but now to use it in a sentence, I'll have to conjugate it. Elle ne donne plus les bonbons à Minou. See that? So how many have you gotten right? And if not all, at what percentage? Remember, we have several that we'll be talking about. And that means this is the end of this video. And please guys, kindly subscribe to stay in touch once I upload my next video. And I'll actually know that I'm growing if I see subscribers growing. Okay? So hit that subscribe button. Let's meet in the other video. And I've seen that a lot of things that I've talked about are just in the previous video. Okay, so if you had all those things at your fingertips, then this thing has just been an easy task here. Okay, so that is it guys. Have a nice time. Au revoir.